They're the liberal rednecks. They like cornbread and butt sex. They care way too much but don't give a fuck. They're the liberal rednecks that makes some people upset, but they got 3 big old dicks that you can suck.
What's up, WellRED Nation? Here we are. We are virtually here in the virtual WellRED studios. Me and the Cho. Drew is dead, unfortunately. Something happened to him. Yeah, rest in peace, Drew. Now he's all right, but he's in parts unknown as he is wont to be.
That's funny that you say that because, like, I feel like when me and you were going to be absent, and maybe this is because me and you were just very verbose and we over-explain things. Like, whenever we're going to miss the show, we usually send like a paragraph going, "I got to do this, otherwise I blah blah blah." Drew just always goes, "I ain't gonna be there, so
can't do it." Yeah,
I don't.
Which that's totally fine, by the way. It doesn't. Yeah, that doesn't bother me at all.
Why, right. Obviously, it's fine if he misses it.
Right.
I think it says more about me and you than it does him. Like when me and you need to miss the show, we actually kind of come across as liars because liars often over-explain. Mm-hmm. And like you can tell someone's lying when you're like, I don't even need any of this information. You've created this in your fucking head,
dude. Well, you've given me a whole new neuroses now.
I'd always do that.
I know you're right about that, about liars do tend to over-explain, makes you seem suspicious, but you know 2 things about me. You know that I'm like a terrible liar, but I'm also the most over-explaining ass motherfucker on planet Earth. So now you got me thinking like everybody always thinks I'm full of shit when I'm being overly truthful.
Well,
yeah, it's weird. Yeah, I know, because well, it's just that we've talked about it before, but I just have this thing in my head where I'm like, I feel like all the information is necessary. Listen, I don't know. I'm just like, they need to know all of this, but you don't.
I agree, dude. You know? And like, especially like, okay, me, you, and Drew are real comfortable with each other, so it's not necessary, right? It's totally not. I'm going to miss the show, whatever. I do feel like if I was to miss somebody else's podcast, I would still do the thing that me and you do because, like, my neurosis is that they're going to think that I'm just blowing them off for some bullshit. So in my mind, I need to lay it all out there so that they know, look, I would not normally, this would never happen, but these extenuating circumstances. So like, dude, I'm making fun of you, but I do it too. And like, when I realized that I did it so much was, I think a lot of people go through this, is you start noticing your dad do things and you get annoyed at him and then you go, oh fuck, I do that too. Cause like, nobody hates themselves more than us. Right. My dad does it and he just, and I'm all the things that I hate about my dad, I'm go, fuck, it's cause you do it too. And you hate yourself.
I can remember the first time I think that I ever realized it about myself. It didn't have anything to do with my dad, but it was a long time ago and I never have stopped. I have no idea what the story was I was telling, but I had a buddy I went to high school with. We're all hanging out. We're all smoking weed or whatever. And he's like prone to, I'm not going to say he has ADD. No, I'm not going to say he has ADD, but he's like, he got a real short attention span, or that he's that type of person. And I remember I was telling this story and I'm like giving all the background, laying all the groundwork, that I think is utterly necessary. And I remember at one point he goes, Jesus Christ, get to the fucking point. Like literally, and I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, what is all this? Like, what is the thing you're wanting to say? I wish I could remember the actual story I was telling, because I was egregiously, out of pocket in that regard. Like, he was totally right. But I remember I was about 19 or 20. And that was like the first time that had ever occurred to me. And I know that I've never stopped doing it since. It's just something that's just like ingrained in me. I don't know. I can't help it.
But do you think it's because we're both, part of it is because we're storytellers by trade, that like,
I guess, but that makes me think that I'm not actually good at that. Do you know what I mean? Like knowing that people find it annoying when I be the way I be about stuff. And I'm talking about the way I tell stories, basically. It makes me feel like, I don't hit telling a story because I do the same thing there,
But it's because what you're talking about is completely mundane. But like, you still treat it the same you would a script, where you're like, background information needs to be established so that they can understand the motives for this, and this. And that's good. Like, I think it's the same thing. It's just that you don't save it for when it's completely necessary. You just do it all the fucking time. And again, dude, I'm the same fucking way. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've probably said to Amber, like, I'm sorry, but I feel like if you didn't know that part, then this wouldn't make fucking sense.
Right. Yeah. A couple of things we should say before we get too far into the show here. Number one, if you guys listened last week, and we hope you did, thanks again to Sean Patton for being on the show.
The
lovely fellow.
Special's amazing.
Love Sean. Brilliant comic. As I say, I've since watched his special on Peacock, number one. Loved it. Thought it was fantastic. Highly recommend it to everybody. But if you listen or watch that episode, then you know at the end of it, he brought up the difference between killing and being actually funny as far as comedians go. And I said, I just heard a story that's directly relevant to that. And then at the end, I was like, I'll have the guy himself come on next week and tell the story because it's his story. And I feel like that would be more fair. And we should have him on anyway. The guy in question is Donnie Sengstack, our buddy, who's a very funny comedian. He will be coming on the show at about the halfway point today. So fret not. If you've just been dying from suspense for the past week, you will get to hear the story. Now, I hope it lives up to it. When he told me the story for the first time, we're on the way to Frederick, Maryland from Virginia, and it had me fucking dying in the car. I thought it was
Donnie's a fantastic
hilarious.
Storyteller, so I promise you it'll live up.
Yeah. He's also a sweet boy, just the sweetest boy. But so that'll happen. The other thing I feel like we should say, I guess, is a bit of a sad day here at WellRED. Just so everybody knows, we're undergoing some changes over here, and we're not sure the full extent of them as of yet. But it's okay that I say this, right? I mean, it's happening. Yeah. People need to know. So our podcast, our beloved podcast network, Starburns, is folding, due in no small part to us. I'm sure we have brought it down. We tend to do that. We tend to sink ships. And by
this is the longest it's
really,
ever
they did
taken
fantastically.
For us to do it. Yeah.
Exactly. That's what I was about to say. They should be very proud of themselves that they got in bed with us and then survived for as long as they did. Because normally, absolute death knell. People hook up with us before you know it. Everything has gone to shit and it's over. Yeah, no, I mean, you shouldn't make fun of it. It's shit, whatever. I mean, shit happens. We don't have all the details or whatever. But yeah, but that is happening, which is a bummer, which means, I mean, the upside for you guys is that I guess is that for a little bit, there won't be ads. We're plugging our own ads in because you can't not plug something, promote something, but there won't be ads. And also we don't know where we're going to end up. I mean, we've got a couple of options, couple of plans in mind to try out as far as networks. And I know the network part don't really even matter that much to you guys, the audience, but matters to us and it makes a difference in things. So just letting y'all know that happened. So we're bummed about it. We loved being there. Love the people at Starburns and the other shows on the network. Yeah. So
this means I have to learn all over again how to upload an episode, which I haven't had to do for 4 years, thanks to our good friends at Starburns. And I would like to say that we wish them all the luck in the world. They were a fantastic partner in podcasting. Every single one of them sweeter than the next. And I really hate this for them.
Yeah, me too.
I've been wanting it.
So
I'm good, man. Fatherhood agrees with me. I think me and Amber have. I know we ain't licked it, but I do feel like we've licked this phase of it. Like we know, obviously he's going to change and stuff. But as far as the newborn situation goes, we've gotten on our as much of a schedule as you can get on for chaos or whatever. But I've figured out hey, if she had a doctor's appointment yesterday at 12:30. So I told her before we went to bed, I said, hey baby, why don't you go ahead and pump a little bit extra and I'll wake up in the middle of the night and feed him and burp him and change him so you don't have to do that and you can be well rested for your doctor's appointment. And that worked out really good. And she had the blood pressure of a normal fucking person for the first time since we've been married. So clearly, it's working. And, I would like to say to everybody who has heard me talking about how great it is and how much I love it. Me and Amber are the most spoiled motherfuckers on earth because she's a teacher and therefore already out of school and doesn't have to go to work for another several months. And I work primarily at home. So we are in the sweetest fucking spot for two people to raise a baby and it's still difficult. So I don't know how in the fuck the rest of y'all do it. I will say that.
So I did a I told you this already, but I did a show in
I've been
Santa
wanting to ask
Monica
you
on
about
Saturday that was like where the club invited people to bring their
Boo.
babies, not like part of the whole conceit of it was like this is a dirty show. It's an R-rated show because babies aren't making memories. They
Right.
don't understand anything. So, you know, you don't have to find a babysitter. You can bring, and also it was in the afternoon, not late at night. So that was smart too. But yeah, bring your baby, enjoy a comedy show with the baby along. I love the club. I mean, I'll shout out the club. It's a new club in Santa Monica called The Crow, and the Nicole who runs it, I love her. I love the club. This experience was, you know, pretty wild, pretty surreal. The show was set for only 1 hour. Oftentimes comedy shows are an hour and a half. When I saw it was 1 hour, I was like, that's smart because babies get unruly, whatever. I'm going up last. I'm going up at like the 45-minute mark. And I know that's going to be iffy because I've had babies, you know. And sure enough, for the first the first 30 minutes, the babies are all in their best behavior. They've all probably just been fed or whatnot, and they're chilling. And then at about 35, 40 minutes in, the babies just decided, this don't hit. We ain't with this no more. And started being babies.
None of these performers is a cartoon dog. I don't quite understand the appeal.
Right. Bless the parents' hearts. They were still like doing their best to be attentive and be a receptive audience and stuff. But the only reason I brought it up is I was going to say, because I've texted you about this too. I tried to do this bit. That's nothing. I did nothing but parenting material, and I've never written parenting material ever until that show. And so I wrote 15 minutes of parenting material. Some of it I may keep around. Some of it I feel like
if you don't end up keeping it around, one bit I tried to do.
One bit I tried to do that did not go over at all. And I think it's because these people all have like babies still, like actual babies, like babies they are holding in their laps, babies. I try to do this bit about how everybody overhypes the newborn stage tremendously. Like everybody makes you real nervous about the newborn stage because they're like, "Are you taking time off work? Are you gonna have any help? Do you got parents around? Is her mom gonna come and stay with you guys?" Like shit, like the people are saying all this, and I was like, "God damn, this is gonna be a whole thing." And it is a huge life change, but as compared to the stages that follow, especially the newborn stage is like so easy. The not sleeping part is like the worst part, but I'm trying to do a bit about this. I'm like, the newborn stage ain't shit. They don't do nothing. They just lay there, whatever. And then I got in this whole thing. I was like, it's especially nothing compared to the competitive suicide era of a kid's life, which is once they start walking, because every parent knows from the time a kid learns to walk to the time they go to kindergarten, they are exclusively devoted to the pursuit of trying to kill themselves in the most asinine ways possible. Right. And that part of it, like, kind of hit. I was getting some laughs in that part talking about how toddlers be. But that first part, they were just all like, the fuck are you talking about? Yeah, you could tell they were all like, no, this is real hard. But I still, my first kid was such an easy baby. Too. And I've said before, like, her mom did come up and stay with us for a little bit. Me and her mom are just like watching Breaking Bad or whatever. I'm like, binging Breaking Bad, playing Skyrim. It was so easy but also I ended up having 13 months apart. So
taking care of
in
one
diapers
with a baby,
and everything, two boys. And like that, like when you compare just having a newborn to all crazy. That, like the two toddlers at the same time, it's like, it's a walk in the park, dude. But you cannot agree with that until you're looking back on it in retrospect, I feel like. And so that ate a huge dick. Like that didn't go over at all. And I knew why. I was like,
not with what you said, but was that with that you can't agree with that until in hindsight, because, and this is one of the reasons that I always preface anytime I'm talking about my experience with raising a newborn with the fact that we are both currently stay-at-home parents, because I no doubt in my mind that makes it 100 times easier. But like I'm with you, like the first week is just like you're running on nerves and adrenaline because they've just handed you this thing with no fucking instruction manual and you just got to go home. So like it's really your fears, and you're going to be sleep deprived, because if you're like us, like, well, dude, it would take me so long to go to sleep because I was constantly checking to see if the baby was breathing. And that's still a thing that I do, but with a little less frequency, and I'm more confident that yes, he is. But like,
well, dude, I told you via text. I don't think I've said it on here. I've literally seen my Mima do that to my 60-year-old Uncle Tim.
Yeah,
literally. One time he's dozing. He's just gently dozing on the couch on like Thanksgiving Day or something, and I see her like walking over to him and like leaning in, like puts a hand under his nose or something, you know what I mean? Like checking to see if he's breathing. And I was like, damn, so that just don't ever go away.
First
That's
week
wild.
of having it though, like I was thinking like, oh my God, like now granted, another preface is that Amber had just had major surgery. She had a C-section, so she couldn't get around that good. So I was having to do more, you know, like I was, and I'm happy to do it, but I was waiting on her hand and foot and the baby. So it seemed difficult. Well, dude, she's fucking healed up now. We're in week 2 of having the baby. Our nerves are, I mean, not completely gone, but we've gotten to our new normal. And like, we get it now. And now it's like, dude, this is awesome, because like a week ago, I genuinely thought, I was like, how am I going to have time to do podcasts and research for my podcast and stuff? And now it's just like, well, yeah, I mean, Amber was just going to hang out on the couch with him anyways. It kind of don't matter if I take an hour off and go read some shit, or I'll just read it on the couch. So like, I don't know, man. Again, I've never done it except for being stay-at-home parents, but this part I love it. It rules. It's pretty much only good, you know? Hey guys, it's your boy Corey Ryan Forster. I'll be short and sweet. PartTimeFunnyMan.com is where you can get bonus stuff from me. Got bonus podcasts, bonus videos, essays, stories, all sorts of cool stuff. It is $5 a month, but if you can't afford that, it's free. Either tier, you get the same stuff. It's just if you have the money to pay for it, it'd be cool if you did that. But if you don't, it's fine. You can get it for free. You can also make a one-time donation to the show on PayPal using buttercreamcorey@gmail.com. It's a really cool thing. I'm adding new cool stuff all the time. There's about to be a whole brand new podcast over there called Oh Yeah Daddy, where I exploit the fact that I am now a dad and becoming quite the cliche one. So we'll talk about cliche dad stuff. You can get it everywhere soon, but it'll be up at parttimefunnyman.com before it's up anywhere. Parttimefunnyman.com. Subscribe, support me, love me, love me. For the love of God, love me. I need it. Love y'all. Parttimefunnyman.com. Well, he's a part-time funny man. He does stand up when he can, but he wants to stay at home and raise his kid. So he sits behind his computer and he does this. Classy.
Yeah, I think you started to say something to me, or you were going to ask me about something or something before I butted in and asked about the parenting shit.
No, yes, I was going to ask you about doing the show for kids. That's what it was like, and then you literally we segued into it. But I do have something to say on that, which is that's the one thing that hasn't happened to me yet, and people told. And again, I'm only 2 weeks in with the kid, but like everybody was like, "Oh man, you know, the thing that's rough is the fact that you're there for a while, you can't really go out and do anything because you don't want to bring a baby to stuff." And I told everybody, I was like, "Well, I'm already set up for success on that because I don't like doing shit." I did
a bit about that exact thing. I had said I'd never written any parent material, and I was like, and I think why a couple, and I was like, one of the things is like, I really don't like hearing young comics talk about having kids when they don't have kids, because it's always some version of like, oh yeah, it sounds really fulfilling, bro, to have to sit at home instead of doing drugs with 3 chicks at an EDM festival, like I was going to do instead. That sounds way better. And the whole thing was like, I was like, let me tell you, as a dude in his 30s, like, yeah, it does sound way better. Like that, way better. And then I had a bunch of other shit, but I was like, dude, you get past like 35 or whatever. It's like, you don't want to do stuff. Like doing stuff sucks. You're forced to do stuff, and kids are like a cheat code for getting out of doing stuff. So it's
we may just
great.
have to do this when we're separate, because I'm working on a bit that's, I mean, we'll tell it different because I'm goofy and you're smarter. But yeah, it's basically like how I didn't realize all the steps I had been subconsciously taking to make this transition the most seamless in my life. Because like I had basically just gotten to a point where all of my hobbies and everything that I like to do were perfect for a dude who didn't want to ever leave the comforts of his fucking home. And like, and they told me, they're like, well, dude, I'm telling you, after the first week or two, like, you think you don't like doing stuff, you'll be dying to do stuff. And I'm not there. Like, the only thing that I've wanted to do is the same thing I've always wanted to do, which is go play a little golf. And like, I've done that. I have a system for like, you know, I'll basically, if I know I want to play golf the next day, I know that I can't just get away with, bye everybody. But so I will be like, hey, Amber, why don't you sleep throughout the night and I'll stay up and bottle feed him and I'll do all this stuff. And I'll let her get 8 hours of uninterrupted sleep. And then the next morning when she wakes up and wants to hang out with the baby, I'll go, hey, do you mind if I slip away for 9 holes? And she's like, oh, you do it, baby. You deserve it. You know what I mean? And I know that'll go away too. But like, that's all I want to do is play golf. And most of the time I have a training mat. I just play in the yard. And every 10 minutes I come back in the house, check on her, fill up her water, burp the baby if I need to. But for another thing, I don't really like being away from him. Like I like,
yeah, no, I know.
That like, it's the same thing. Kind of the same thing I said when people were like, oh, hanging out with your wife sucks. And I always been like, not for me. And that's the reason I married her. You know, I like her. She's cool. Yeah. We have similar interests. Well, the baby is that times a million, because I remember when me and Amber, when the baby first came out and we'd been with it for a couple hours, we looked at each other and we didn't say anything, but it was almost like an understood that at that moment we both were thinking, oh my God, I love this motherfucker more than I love you. We both love this thing more than we love each other. And it was just that knowledge, you know? And so like, I want to be with my fucking son.
So I'm glad y'all are on the same page about that. First of all, one thing we're talking about, you know, oh, it makes you can't do nothing. You don't ever want to do nothing. I was saying, I don't want to do nothing. Of course, you got to understand, it's like when you're in your 20s, you do want to do stuff, but it's like, but they need to understand that it's like,
you'll want it.
You either will stop, you either will change in that way, or you should. If kids are the thing that make you mature in that way, then good. Because like nobody needs to be the 36-year-old dude at the rave. You know what I mean? Think about when you were 22 and that guy was at the rave, like that guy wasn't cool. Like you don't like, so hanging on to that is I'm not saying you should have, some people or not have kids. Some people genuinely don't have any interest. I'm fine with that. Don't bother me at all. But the whole, like, you can't never do nothing. You lose your freedom. All that shit's like, that part is overblown in my opinion, because like life should change with or without a kid. You shouldn't keep doing all the shit you're doing in your early 20s as you get older anyway.
Yeah.
That's
Dave Grohl, sad. I remember listening to an interview he did, and they were talking about how different like their first 6 albums were with the Foo Fighters. And like, you know, y'all were really trying different things. And he was just like, okay, well, let me break it down for you. He said, between this album and this album, I had a kid. And so my brain changed, and therefore I was now a dad writing music, and I was looking at everything through that lens. And he goes, and frankly, I think as an artist, as like with anything, like if some big life event happens to you, you shouldn't be the same person after it that you were before. Like you just shouldn't. Like it should change you. And there's nothing wrong with going to raves in your 20s and having a fucking good time. But the only reason that you're doing that is because you're chasing something you don't have. Like you're looking for some spark, some joy, something to fit. And then when you have I'm not saying the only way to be fulfilled is to have a kid, but like, dude, this shit has genuinely helped with my depression in a way, which I thought it would be the opposite. I thought that like I would get real scared, I would get real anxious, and I would, you know, I don't know. But like, I don't know, man, just having this thing that like I can point to and go, this is what it's about right now. Like nothing else fucking matters. Like all those dreams that you've had are now, they're still dreams, but they're more like suggestions. You know what I mean? I hope this happens. But if it doesn't, guess what? As long as he has money, you know, or enough money, you know, like I make money for him to have a nice life and he don't get stabbed and shit. Like I did it. Like that's my success now, you know, like that, like it, dude, if I never, I don't know, sell another ticket, sell another show or whatever, but he grows up in a comfortable home and becomes a good person, I fucking win, dude. You can't tell me otherwise. Like you can't fucking tell me otherwise.
Yeah. You said earlier, you were like, you said you and Amber realized at the same time, like, oh, damn, I love this thing more than I love you even. It's like, and it's mutual by a lot. Okay.
And I love her, by the way.
I said, I'm glad you guys are on the same page about that. I'm not saying me and Katie aren't. I've just seen a lot of times on the internet discussions about it and stuff, people, relationship advice, whatever. I've seen a lot of people say versions of like, in a marriage, you got to put your partner before everything, before yourself, before even your kids. Like people say that, like you got to prioritize the partner over the kid in a marriage, that type of thing. And I've always been like, no, it's not. That don't sound right to me. Like I love the shit out of Katie. And she loves me too, but like I would expect her to say, like, for sure, I love the boys more because, like, I would expect her to make,
for sure.
I love them both. I'm just saying, it's nothing else is on that level.
I fucking love Amber, or I wouldn't have made the thing I love the most with her. But like, but I would expect when she's making a decision that she would go, "What's best for the baby?" before she would go, "What's best for Corey." You know what I'm saying? Like I would expect. Now I think like with a lot of people, maybe like when you have a kid, you throw everything into your kid, that you stop treating your partner with love and more like you treat them more like a fucking coworker or some shit. Like I can see that. It's why you hear people say all the time that you got to date your wife. You got to still date your wife. And like I agree with that. Like that would be a bummer if Amber did stop wanting to every now and then watch movies with me or what, because but again, as long as she's treating the baby fine and not being a huge bitch to me, I ain't gonna complain. But like, dude, the baby is the most important thing. Like, let me put it to you this way. If Amber died, I would be devastated. For many reasons, not higher on the list than I would have to raise this thing by myself. And that scares me. And I don't want him to not have a mom. But I would get over it. I would move on with my life. It might take a while, but I'd move on with my life. If this motherfucker, something happened to him, I'm not moving on. Like, dude, and I only known him for 2 weeks. Like I used to like this isn't to sound insensitive, but like I do remember when like I would hear people when their baby died, and I'll be like, oh, how old was it? And they'll say, and it was like, a week, 2 weeks. Oh, here he is, Donnie. Let me finish this one little note here, and then we're gonna have you on. I would hear that, and I would be like, oh, that is sad, but like, they didn't even really know him that long. I've known this motherfucker for 2 weeks, and I'm telling you right now, I couldn't go on. I fucking couldn't if something happened to it.
No, I've always thought the same thing. That's what's so wild about the past. Like literally, I read the other day, and like Victorian era England and before, or I might not have that exactly right, but back in the day, England, old timey England, and moving back beyond that, babies and kids, like it was a 50% mortality. It was a coin flip, 1 out of 2, and that's so crazy. It's like no wonder people were so insane and dumb and crazy and hard and everything back then, because life was nuts. Donnie, we're talking about babies dying, but we can stop now.
Hey,
what's up, buddy? How you doing?
Sorry to join on such a fun note. What's going on?
Yeah. Well, that's actually our fault. Hey, before we continue with Donnie, actually, Corey,
let's take another quick break here, and then we'll be right back.
Howdy there, WellRED fans across the Skewniverse. It's your boy Trae Crowder here. Just want to take an opportunity to let you know about a couple of things that I think you might think are cool. Just some things to let you know about in case you don't already know about them. I'm talking about, in particular, Weekly Skeews, hosted by me and Smart Mark AG. If you're into my political musings, and I assume many of you are, well, it's all politics all the time podcast. That's what Weekly Skews is. Mark reads and knows stuff. I learn and react to stuff. We have a good time. We do the show live every Tuesday night at 5 p.m. Pacific on my social pages. But also you can get it as a podcast wherever you get your podcast from, or you can watch it on my YouTube channel. You don't have to be there live. Check it out either way. Also, if you would like to check out some of the bonus stuff I got going on, you can go to patreon.com/Trae Crowder. I got a bunch of stuff on there for my patrons. You got multiple tiers. I do news reaction videos. I learn the news of the day, react to them in real time, rant and rave, do my thing. We have interviews with other blue sheep, people like Corey, Drew, Smart Mark, my sister, you name it, all kinds of fun people, Brent Terhune, and we explore the background of my political opinions, as well as reviewing many of our country's worst politicos, all that. Plus I do audience Q&As and bonus Weekly Skews episodes, all at my Patreon. It's also just a nice way for you to support your boy. So if you'd like to check out the wares over there, go to patreon.com/Trae Crowder and do so. And then lastly, one-stop shopping for me. If you want to come see me live, which I sure would appreciate, or you want to check out me and the guys' Amazon specials, you can find all that by going to TraeCrowder.com. Last but not least, I love you like chicken. Thank you for being here and enjoying the WellRED podcast. And we'll keep doing it if you keep listening to it, baby. See you, love you, bye. And we're back. All right. So Donnie Sengstack is with us. Donnie's a good friend of ours, lovely, lovely man and a wonderful comedian. Donnie, so I'm going to set this up for you real quick, just so you know exactly what happened. Last week, Sean Patton was on the show.
Oh, he don't know why he's here?
Oh, I mean, I don't know. I told him he knows the story.
He thinks we just like him.
Yeah.
We're trying to put a button on something.
Hey, congrats on fatherhood, Corey.
Thanks,
and foremost.
dude. Oh, man.
I haven't seen you since. That's rad.
Yeah, man, it rules.
That's what we've been talking about. But now we want to switch gears. So Sean Patton was on here. He started talking about. He's like, people may not realize, but there's a difference between killing and being genuinely funny. He's like, people will kill sometimes, and that don't mean they're actually funny or good comedians, and people may not realize that. And I was like, I just heard a story about that exact dynamic from Donnie Sengstack, and I was going to tell it, and then I was like, no, we need to have Donnie on anyway. We'll just have him tell it. I did tell Sean after we stopped recording because he wanted to hear it, but the audience has been waiting a whole week and half an episode to hear this story. So not to put too much pressure on you or nothing, but I thought this was wonderful. So
you better kill, motherfucker.
So you know what I'm talking about. Let's hear
it. Yeah, I do know exactly the story you're talking about. I've got a stutter, by the way, just to put that out there.
Are you serious?
That's not relevant to the story. Yeah, Corey, this might your kid might catch it. Better put him in another room. No, but yeah, I was just on the road with Trae. We were driving through and doing a bunch of shows around where I grew up, which is in Maryland, Mid-Atlantic. That's right where I started comedy. So I took everybody out. The shows were great, by the way, Trae. Thanks again for having me on.
Wow. Hey, you were a big part of it. They were great, but thanks for coming. That was a whole lot of fun, man. So I appreciate it.
Yeah. And all those shows were a lot more fun than one of the shows that happened the first year I ever started comedy. It was the only time I've ever been booed off stage.
Yeah.
So it was.
So you're like, what are you, 18, 19? You're a kid.
I'm 18 years old. This is like 2013.
Yeah.
And so I was in the first few months of doing stand-up, and I'm thinking it's going great, and I get invited to a bringer comedy contest at the Baltimore Comedy Factory.
Let's tell everybody what a bringer is that doesn't know. A bringer show is where people who are the scum of the earth run a show and make you you don't get paid. By the way, that's insane. That would be crazy to pay you. What they do is you get like points sometimes based on how many people you brought to the show. Right. So that's what they're basically giving you the illusion of this is good for your career just so that you will fill this comedy club up for them and then they will not pay you. Donnie, I apologize. Go on.
Oh, and oftentimes it's a stipulation. Like you have to
sometimes
bring
you have to put in $20 too.
Yeah. And you have to bring at least X number of people or you can't go on stage.
Yeah.
So that's a very common tactic. So, but this is a competition. It's a bringer, but also a competition, comedy competition.
Yeah, and the number that X number of people that you were required to bring for this particular show was 7.
Mm-hmm.
It was 7 in downtown Baltimore, and that's not exactly near where I grew up. I grew up a little over an hour west of Baltimore, near Frederick, where we did the show. So it wasn't exactly easy for me to get 7 people to come to this bringer show at the Baltimore Comedy Factory. So what I did, my aunt lived in Baltimore at the time, and I said, hey, I need people to come watch me do stand-up. And so, like, do you or anyone else know people who could come? And she brought her book club.
That's a great audience.
Your aunt's book club. How sweet is that?
Sat in the back, all 7 of them, and they were The only people I brought, there were 4 people competing in this comedy contest. I had enough. I had 7. So I qualified to win the contest. 2 other comedians did not bring 7, so they did not qualify, and they were not allowed.
Yeah, it's bullshit because
win.
it discounts all the people who don't have a lot of friends, and in my experience, those are actually the funniest people on earth. So it really sucks.
Yeah, well, I started in Knoxville where I had just moved from over 100 miles away or whatever, and I was like, I don't know anybody but other comedians. Like I literally can't do that. Or if there was like a bringer in Nashville or something, it's like I can drive 2.5 hours to Nashville, but like I can't bring people to a Nashville show. So anyway, but Donnie figured it out with his aunt's book club. These are all, is this like 7 middle-aged, nice ladies? Like, are they churchy at all? Like, what's their demeanor? Are they like,
a lot of them are like public school teachers, nice, polite old ladies. And the other person who brought people brought, I am not exaggerating, triple digits. Busloads of people, like over 100 people, and packed out the club. And they were not book club. This was all in inner city Baltimore.
Yeah.
Not my aunt's book club were the only 7 white people there.
Gotcha. And they were not book club types.
Yeah. So she qualifies for the contest. Let's
yeah.
And each of the 4 comedians competing gets like a total of 3 minutes. They gave us 3 minutes each.
That's rough,
to compete.
Dude.
And then
This is like the inside baseball part, but I've just got to know. There's 4 of y'all in the competition. You get 3 minutes each. Like, that's not even a show. Like, what was the rest of the show? That's 12 minutes. Like, did people pay to come into the club and watch 12 minutes and that was it? Or did they have
the rest of the show was the headliner? It was Jason Weems, Baltimore comic, who's fantastic. I love Jason Weems. You ever get the chance to see him, check him out. And so after 12 minutes, Jason goes up and does 40 on the events that had transpired during the 12 minutes of contest.
Yes.
So what happens is the first 2 comics who didn't bring enough people go up first and, have fine sets. They're not memorable. The third comic who goes up is the woman who brought all 100 plus people. And she gets on stage. They're already bringing her onto a standing ovation because she brought everybody in the crowd just by walking on stage. And so she did probably 3 sentences total in the 3 minutes of her show, and she was not put like 4 bills, 4 bills.
Yeah.
Big lady, big black lady.
Yeah.
And her first joke is, the doctor says I'm supposed to lose weight, but how am I supposed to lose weight when 2 Big Macs at McDonald's is $5?
Yeah. Not
observational.
Howling laughter.
Everybody had a version of that joke back in the day,
Oh yeah.
Everybody's fist pumping.
Oh, I know that's right, motherfucker. That wasn't a black impression, by the way.
Yeah.
That was just
absolutely crushing with just that first sentence. And then as the laughter is building, she reaches into her giant cleavage and removes a drumstick from KFC, a piece of fried chicken, and goes, I got chicken in my titties.
Yeah.
Which does hit.
I got people are rolling on the floor laughing. I got titty chicken. She just keeps going. I got chicken in my titties. I got titty chicken. People are going nuts. And I'm in the wings.
Yeah, right. Donnie's waiting to go on, dude. She's up there waving this chicken leg around, everything. People are dying, losing their minds, dude. Like when Richard Simmons was on Whose Line Is It Anyway? Like fucking, they're dying. I know what you're thinking, but like, what are you thinking in that moment, standing back there watching this?
Now I'm thinking, I'm going home. I'm walking. I'm not going on stage. I'm getting in the car and driving home as soon as I'm leaving the club. I'm refusing to do. But me at 18 years old and 6 months into comedy, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, thinks I can play off this energy.
Yeah.
I can.
She got them warmed up for me.
Yeah, she got it warmed up for me.
Thanks for that, lady.
I'm going to ride this wave.
Yeah, right.
So my idea is like, I went back to the back of the club where my jacket was. I put my jacket back on so I would have like a fake cleavage to reach into, like a little zip up hoodie.
Brilliant.
And so I thought, well, what's like the whitest food I can have in my fake cleavage that I can, So she finishes her set. Those are the only words she says in 3 minutes, and just it crushes. Like they're standing they're standing and clapping, and they absolutely love it. She's still holding the chicken when she
right. So she says literally the 2 lines. The second line is "I got chicken in my titties," and then for the rest of 3 minutes, she's just like presenting the chicken leg. She was waving around. Did she take a bite of it or anything?
No, she's like, I got titty chicken. I got chicken in my titty. She just has to keep. She just says those 2 lines back to back.
Ain't broke.
Laughs still coming. And then as she's walking off stage, it's a whole drumstick. The host takes a bite out of the chicken.
Yeah,
classic.
And the whole nother explosion of laughter and like it's that's gross. So I'm like, all right, let's go. It's go time. I got this. And so he goes, okay, ladies and gentlemen, your next comedian, Donnie Sengstack. I will walk out on stage. I reach into my like jacket, thing and go, "Hi, everybody! Not to be outdone, but I've got some gluten-free trail mix.
Mm-hmm.
Just crickets."
Yeah, right.
It didn't hit for the. It's not. It was just like, oh, what's the whitest thing I could think?
Yeah.
And so then
Did you say not to be outdone? Did you say that?
Word for word.
Because that's like that feels like a real white saying to me too.
I think
not to be outdone. Not to be outdone, but I've got
bit.
some gluten-free trail mix here, and everybody's just
Didn't hit for him.
No, no,
it didn't really. And so, then at this time, I'm like 1 year in. All of my jokes are like, I've got a stutter, but the ladies tell me I put the stud in stutter, and then I've only got to write 5 minutes of material for a 10-minute set. And then the one point, like the crowd just goes, huh? Boo! Like one of them started boo.
That ain't how you spell stutter, motherfucker.
Bring back titty chicken. They go, bring back titty chicken.
They start chanting it. Bring back titty chicken.
Titty chicken at me. They go, titty chicken, titty chicken. And I'm like, I was like, I got nothing. And then, then at that point, the host is like already on stage, pulling me off, and they bring her back up. Another standing ovation.
Yeah.
She's.
They brought her on just to do more time, didn't she?
She didn't do any more time. She just did more waving the drumstick, and they closed out the contest. So the host goes, "Hey, I am not supposed to like, hey, this is the point in the show where we're supposed to have a clap off to determine who wins the contest." And he goes, "But I don't think I need to do that." And the crowd goes, "No." And then he raises her arm, she wins, and then my buddy Jason Weems goes up and does like 45 minutes. She goes, she's got chicken in her titties, and keeps rushing. So,
dude, that's so funny.
By the time I get back to the table where my aunt's book club is, they're gone.
Your aunt's book club is gone?
At the club for 12 minutes.
Yeah.
And my aunt is there just like,
I'm craving Bojangles for some reason.
Yeah, I didn't like them that much anyway.
Dude, that is like because I'm trying to think if I've ever had even a remotely similar experience to that. I mean, Corey, do you have anything like where you're just back there like, well, I'm fucked?
No,
Like,
no.
I mean, I've had that thought before, but
yeah,
not
but it
for
wasn't.
a reason.
But I wasn't
similar
mad
to that.
about it. Like,
right?
It's. I've had that happen when somebody goes up and crushes, but like with good reason. You know, like when I was early on, being like, okay, well, I'm not that good. But that would have, dude. I would have been so pissed, going like, I would have wanted so badly, and I may have because I'm not a sweet boy like you, Donnie. It's possible that I would have gone up and berated the crowd and explained to them, these ain't even jokes, motherfucker. Like, I would say anybody could do that, but she did, like, you have to be her in order for, like, I couldn't do exactly what she did and that be funny, you know? But, like, I would have been fucking, you know, you're already mad because, like, the point of this contest is to bring people. I don't fucking know anybody here. And then that happens.
Yeah.
And, yeah. But no, I've never had anything close to like that happen.
Why don't you, if you don't mind, Donnie, what about that other story of what happened at Zany's? You know what I'm talking about? That you tweeted about, got shared by like David Cross or whoever else, bunch of people.
Patton
Oswalt.
I'm an idiot and went viral with it's an anecdote.
Yeah.
Everyone's posting clips now, not me. I don't record and then write out a traumatic story days later.
Yeah. Do you know what I'm talking about already, Corey? Have you heard this one before? It involves his stutter. It involves
if you told me at Zany's last year, I only don't remember it because I was so very drunk.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's pretty wild.
It was around the same time of your Christmas show. It was either right before or right after, but it wasn't that long ago. I get on stage for the new material Monday night at Haney's, and so I go on stage and like you do a thing where they let comics who have been doing it a while go on stage and like, we'll give you 8 minutes to try out some new jokes. So I was on one of those nights. It's a full room at Zany's. I get maybe a few jokes in, you know. And then this guy is sitting like off kind of to the side of the stage on the wall by the headshots, and he starts like chiming it, like talking up out loud, but he's not really saying anything. So
during your set?
Yes. During my set, I can't really tell what's going on. So I like look over to him, and I think at first he's making fun of me because he's over there going buh 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 buh, and I'm like, this has happened before. People make fun of my stutter at me a lot. It just happens. Like there are sometimes where like people will come up to me after shows and be like, dude, you killed it, dude. Like, think it's endearing, and I'm gonna be like, thank you, wow, what a great addition.
That's so funny, dude. The things that some people will say thinking it's gonna hit for you is crazy, but that's like one of the more egregious examples I've ever heard. When people heckle you by making fun of your stutter, you said that's happened before, like, I assume everybody's automatically on your side, right? Like in the crowd, like that's like you're in a good, not that you want that to happen. It's not a good position, but I'm saying it's like people, oftentimes crowds don't like hecklers anyway. They shouldn't, and usually they don't, but especially one who's doing some shit like that, I would think they'd be like, you know, get rid of this motherfucker or whatever.
Yeah, but this one case at Zany's was a particularly unique case where the guy was like stuttering at me, and then I like thought he was making fun of me, so I like held the mic down towards him and was like and said, "Go off, King." And like no, like the crowd was like, "Stop! What? No, that guy's really stuttering." And He was like really like stuttering, and so I stopped to let him finish what he was saying, and he goes, "Hey, I I've got a stutter, and you're making fun of me." And then the crowd goes, "Aww."
I mean,
Did he think you were fucking around?
Then he goes to me like, "Hey, no." I said, "No, I'm not making fun of you. I've got a stutter too. That's my intention was never to, make fun of you. It's just to, point out funny situations that I find myself in." And then he goes, "You're a liar."
What?
You're fake. He accused me of faking it on stage.
Who on earth?
Dude, yeah. Dude, nothing runs all over me more than when people, as oftentimes happen, accuse me of faking my accent. Like,
Likewise.
that pisses me off. Literally worse than anything else.
Oh, yeah.
People say horrific things about me.
You could shit on my
Nothing
head.
pisses me off. Nothing pisses me off more than when people accuse me of faking my accent. I can't imagine somebody accusing you of faking your stutter.
People will literally post on my shit, and they're like, "I'm from North Georgia, and nobody there talks like that." And I'm like, "Okay, bro." But yeah,
I know
it has to go double, triple, quadruple for you, because it's like
when it happens online, it's just like, okay,
yeah, right.
We'll brush it off. But in like a live audience, when the audience goes like, "Ooh," like they bought that he called me out on my stutter, and then I had to like defend my stutter, like I had to like prove my stutter cred.
Yeah.
Well, let me say something real quick. If you think it's all performance, I've been with Donnie several times when he wasn't on stage and it was just us hanging out. And if you ask him what type of sandwich he wants you to get him from the store, you're going to be there for 10 fucking minutes. He's not faking. It's real. It's adorable, and it should not be made fun of.
So, how did you establish your stutter cred? What'd you do?
Like, I do a joke about it now, but it's like I'm a card carrying member of the union. I wake up when I hear the factory whistle. I wake up and I stutter from sun up to sundown. I served 3 tours of duty in speech therapy.
Yeah.
Where did you serve? Like a stutter stolen valor video.
Yeah.
So I have to but I did. I just kind of had to dig in and be as apologetic and kind as possible, and let him know that hey, I know what you've been through. I know what your family's gone through. This, it's really hard, and I want to please, let's talk after the show and let me know how you think I can do better, because I've got a voice up here, and I want to be as positive an influence as I can be for everyone who has a stutter. So I get a standing ovation. I walk down, I shake
really?
the guy's hand. Yeah.
So you say all this stuff, it's all sincere or whatever, and people love it. They're like, yeah, good for these guys. This is a sweet moment.
Your whole career, Trae.
Yes.
Yeah.
People love it. I get a standing ovation, and then at that point, my time is over, because obviously this exchange took a while. So someone in the crowd shouts, "Give him 5 more minutes." They're like, yeah, give him 5. So they give me 5 more minutes. They crush it. It couldn't have gone better. I've never had a crowd more on my side. I get off stage, and then Josh Black, a local Nashville comic, is up next. You guys know Josh?
I know who Josh is. Yeah,
he's great. So
yeah, he's awesome.
He goes on stage and is like, "Man, it just got so woke in here. I feel like I have to hit a woman to balance the energy out." And nobody laughed. Not a soul in the audience laughed. Jesus.
I bet all the comics in the green room are fucking dying.
They're losing it. It was great. So the show ends, and then I've there's a few more comics left, and then by the bathroom in Zany's, the staff comes in and says, "Hey, he's waiting for you by the bathroom." And it's like, okay,
the stutter guy.
Yeah, the guy who faked this. I was like, I promised I'd talk to him. So I go back there, I talk to him, I thank him for everything, and ask him hey, I know what do you think I can do better? What do you think needs to needs to happen here. There's a National Stuttering Association chapter here in Asheville that if you ever need help, there's a good support system. So he's like, yeah, he's nodding along and going back and forth through all this, and then right before he goes to leave, he kind of shakes my hand and pulls me in close and goes, "Hey, just so you know, I was faking all that shit." I was.
Get the fuck out of here.
What did you say to that? How did you react to that?
He goes, "Hey, just so you know, I was faking all that shit. I was trying to help you blow your shit up." He tells me I did a great job. I was like, oh, thank you.
So he thinks he's the hero in this situation.
He thinks he's the hero in this.
Look
story.
what I did for you.
But like, did you just kind of go? Were you like dumbstruck? Like, were you just kind of like, okay, what? All right, see ya.
I've never been that close to like. I'm a very non-confrontational person, and like that is a type of crazy that like
that's
should
insane.
Not be dealt. Yeah. I said thanks for coming to the show.
Yeah, because in that situation, like you, to me, in my opinion, you would have had every right to blast that motherfucker in the face. But at the same time,
1,000%.
Yeah, for sure. And everyone would have supported you. We would have all hit him too. But when you really look at that situation, especially in hindsight, you're like, if somebody is capable of doing that in public,
right,
dude, they will bomb my car. You know what I mean?
I was
1,000%. Yeah.
I was going to say the same thing. It's like, dude, honestly, like the fact that he did that and fooled the whole room, including you, a person with an actual stutter, like that's like legit con man shit.
Yeah.
Like in a movie about con men, right? Like that's the type of thing that's like, it's wild that people can actually pull off. Like the balls to even
I did not see that coming. I did not see that coming.
And the balls to even attempt that, and then the fact that he like executed it
and admitted
it, and then like it's crazy.
Also, like I hadn't been on stage that long initially. Like I had done maybe 3 or 4 jokes, and then he goes, "Okay, time for me to pull. Time for me to do these." Like,
that's true.
Yeah.
It's not like he knew you were going to be there and plan this at home. Like he came up with that
was
whole
on
scheme
a whim.
On a whim.
Dude, I didn't even really think about that part.
Either.
That makes it so much crazier. That is wild, dude.
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine.
Was he drunk? Was he like really drunk?
No, he was. So he talked to the servers, and they said that he had ordered pina coladas all night, and then at the end of the night faked a coconut allergy.
That's a little bit less smooth of a con, in my opinion. That's more garden variety conning right there.
Coladas? God damn.
Oh God, it's not coconut, is it?
Yeah.
To get out of paying for them?
Yes, yeah. And they comped his tab, but after this whole thing happens, obviously we tell the whole staff, and they're able to find his social media, and his Instagram bio is the pursuit of happiness, which is very funny. and all of his posts, he books like illegal, like underground all male strip shows in Middle Tennessee.
Dude,
this guy ain't real.
He's wild.
I swear, I will send you his Instagram, Corey. After we
please,
get off the
I'll put it in the link to the fucking episode. So
I don't know if we ought to do that.
Yeah, you're right. We shouldn't do
that.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Yeah,
I do want to see it though.
Yeah. I'll send it to you. But it's so every layer is more ridiculous, and also like there were maybe 150 people at that show. And 3 different people have come up to me in public afterwards to see like, "Hey, you're the comic from that show with the guy with like the guy who stuttered." They don't say the guy who faked having a stutter,
right?
Because they don't know that.
They don't know any of that.
They don't know. They're like, remember?
Because who the fuck?
Right.
that people will just come up and be like, "Hey, remember when you had that sincere interaction with that man?"
Yeah.
Which one? Oh, yeah. You mean wait? There's so much more to it. So I've shown them his Instagram.
Yeah,
so you went through the whole thing with him? Because
when that
great.
happens, I was going to say when that happens, you tell them like, yeah, well, here's the thing about that. Yeah, I mean, I would too.
Yeah, of course.
So I posted the whole story on Twitter. It went like super viral and got like 1.5 million like hits, and all these people shared it. And right before I go on stage that night, Connor Larson, good friend of mine, offers to film my set. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, no, this crowd's not great. And
you killed,
didn't you? The story goes viral, and I don't have an accompanying video clip.
Yep.
So like half the quote tweets are like, "This is a huge waste of time. Does anyone believe this actually happened?"
Dude, that fucking ain't that just the way? Like, you almost know you're like, I don't want to even set up my camera because if I do, then it will suck. It's only when I am not going to ever have evidence of it do I really, 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 really crush and do well, and nobody believes me.
Yep.
God, that's a fucking bummer. But do they not just record shows from time to time? Probably not on New Material Night.
Not on new material night. And it's like they have a feed that goes to the green room, but it's just like a
CC closed CC. Yeah. Well, that fucking sucks, man. If I could, I used to think if I had a time machine, I'd do all the, go back and, kill Hitler, fuck Marilyn Monroe. I think I would use my past to go sit in this show and film it with my cell phone.
Yeah. Well, look, we're about out of time, Donnie. I know we only had time for 2 stories, but
plug your shit.
What are you going to do? 100%. As you yourself alluded to, but we'll definitely have you back on in the future. But yes, please, let people know how they can follow you and all that good stuff.
Definitely. Yeah. Check out at Don Sengstack on Instagram, Twitter. Those are the main things you can find me on. I post all my shows there. I'll be at Zany's April 17th and April 24th for the Nashville Comedy Festival. So check that out, and if you come, please behave yourself.
Yeah, right. Hey, Donnie, a little bit of housekeeping. As soon as we stop recording, stay on until your shit's uploaded. I didn't tell you that before. So with that being said, thank you all for listening to the WellRED Show. We'd love to stick around longer, but we got to go. Tune in next week if you got nothing to do. Thank you. God bless you. Good night and skew. All right.